Why do Chassidic men go to Mikvah every day? It's not a mitzvah for men, so what's the purpose?
The way I understand it, there's two components to it. The first is not really a Chassidic concept, it's really a halacha concept. And that's what's called Tfilas Ezra. The Mishnah says in Brachas, and the Gemara discusses it, that Ezra HaSefer made a gzeira, a decree that a person who's spiritually unclean is not allowed to learn and daven. And before a person can say Krishma, he has to go to the mikveh. So for a period of time, any Jew who became spiritually unclean had to go to the mikveh. Now, eventually, the Jewish people, the Chachamim, realized that this is a gezeira she'ein reiv hatzibo yachelim lamed ba. Most people cannot deal with this constantly running to the mikveh every time they have an inyan of tumah. So they stopped it. That you're allowed to daven and learn, but tumah also we don't worry about tumas keri and so on. However, even though the gezeira was taken away, which means you're allowed to daven and learn when you're tameh, it doesn't mean that it's not an issue. It's still significant, if you could, to go to the mikveh when you have a infant tumah. If I'm not mistaken, the Shals HaTshuvas Ben HaShamayim that talks about Yutas Kislev being a Yom Besuda on a Tuesday is about this, that they asked Ben HaShamayim, is there any reason for a person to be nizir and tefillah says? And he said, of course. But this requires a person to go to the mikveh only when he's spiritually unclean. He's not spiritually unclean every day, he's spiritually unclean on occasion. So the concept of going to the mikveh every day, first of all, you should know that in Chabad, in the olden days, they didn't really run to the mikveh every day, they went a couple of times a week. The Lubavitcher Bochrim were not allowed to go to the mikveh, more than Monday and Thursday and Shabbos. In other Chassidic circles, they go to the mikveh very often, every day at least once. This is not necessarily about Tfilas Ezra, this is about Tara Yesera. It's like Hiken Lekrasa Lekecha Yisrael. Anytime you do something Jewish, you want to have an element of preparation. Tefillah is an aspect of preparation, which Alter Rebbe mentions also in the Likutei Torah, that before davening you give tzedakah, you learn Zayar, and you go to the mikveh. And the concept, of course, here is, as you know, that the word Tefillah is ACS Habitl. The immersion in water, where your whole body is covered by the water, represents a total sacrifice of self and a submersion in the waters, as the Rambam says in Safek Mikvah, Me'adas HaToher, the waters of holiness and purity and good ethos and values, as a preparation for Tefillah. And that's the two aspects that I understand for the significance of going to the mikveh when a person needs to, and even every day. There may be other aspects, but this is what I understand.